He's gone, now we can have fun. And what is up guys, Tactical Stinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for the day. If you're new to the channel, uninitiated or unfamiliar, I do 3D printing here at home, stuff to improve my life, fix stuff around the house, maybe sell for money, or just generally have a good time. If you're interested in any of those things, be sure to subscribe to the channel. What am I working on today? A lot of stuff going on. It's been a few days since I've vlogged, so a lot of stuff's updated and refreshed. Man, the noises on these machines. Let's start over here on the Bamboo P1P. Going on and on about these K-pop Demon Hunter models, but they get a lot of views, a shit ton of views, as a matter of fact. And so I've been printing a new one here. This is a Zoe mod. I'm not sure if you're even familiar with it. I know a lot of middle-aged males watch me, and so you're probably like, what the hell is that even? Well, the idea and the strategy over the past few weeks has been like, you know, let's focus a little bit on shorts and do more trendy stuff to get views and subscribers and stuff. I mean, the goal here is to grow the channel and ultimately more subscribers, more views, leverage into more money from sponsors, use that money to make more stuff, compounding, that's the idea anyway. So I'm doing another one of those models here. This one taking a lot of different colors of filament. And the first thing I wanted to remark on is this navy blue color here. This navy blue color here is on currently a Sunlu spool, but it is not a Sunlu filament. It is a Deeply filament. And I truly, madly, deeply do not like Deeply filament, so far anyway, because this is the only filament that I've ever had that seems to be, and I don't know the word for it, maybe you do. It seems like this is from it jamming up in the AMS. And you might say, well, yeah, filaments do that. This does it sort of constantly, and so I was like, okay, it's on a cardboard spool. I know that cardboard spools don't, and AMS are, you know, little oil and vinegary kind of, so I re-spooled it. But as I was re-spooling it, which I did not film, it seems to me that maybe it's not, like it was wound off of a larger spool because as it was coming off, you could tell it was twisting. You know, like when you unwind or re-spool anything else, it comes off kind of one for one. So it's as if it was twisted while it was being spooled. I don't know if that makes sense at all. If it does to you, let me know if you've encountered that. But the filament looks okay. It's just like its winding is questionable. And I don't know if that's just the nature of it, and that's just, you know, a common thing, and I've only just encountered it now. But, you know, the filament seems to be performing okay now that I got it on a Sunlu spool. So that's going well. Another 17 hours left in that print, though. That's a monster. Over here on the Flash Forge, we've got our Infinity Flow S1 connected to it. We did a riser for our Bamboo A1. We're going to take a look at that in a second, but I think I'm going to have to disconnect this Infinity Flow S1 off of the Flash Forge and bring it back over to the Orangestorm Giga, because the Orangestorm Giga over the past 3 days has wasted 2 full spools of filament. I say wasted, the Orangestorm Giga, it's not the Orangestorm Giga's fault, and it's not really the Infinity Flow's fault because I have an Infinity Flow S1 here. This is the big boy for 5 kilogram spools, and so I've got the regular one on the Flash Forge, I've got the big boy over here on the Giga, but I got like 1 5 kilo spool left. But what I wanted to do, again with the trend chasing stuff, is print a, can you tell what this is just from the bottom half? It's the bottom of a Labubu. So Labubu is a very, even saying the name I feel stupid. Labubu is, Labubu, I can't even say it. Labubu is a very popular thing right now. It's a mythological doll or something. It's just very popular with kids, but it gets a lot of views. And if you're unfamiliar, it's like a rabbit looking evil sort of thing, cutesy, chibi kind of deal. So I was like, I got an Orangestorm Giga, I'm gonna print a real big one, because most people are printing ones on bamboos, you know, like this big. So I had 4 kilos of this teal filament, and I'm like, that would make a good outer body, because this is a multi-part model that you print separate parts and then you glue it together so you get a nice clean edge. So I started printing it. Obviously it failed, nice and solid though. Saving this because I wanted to show it off. And the way that it failed is that I had these spools on the Infinity Flow S1 5 kilo, but these are 1 kilo spools. I didn't think it would make a difference. Would you? Apparently it does, because as it moves down, I guess it gradually sort of, you know, shifts and kind of runs away, which eventually causes it to camber out and jam, and I don't have the filament cutters on here. I really need to hit up Infinity Flow for some of their version 2 cutters, because that would have saved the day. Long story short, camber's out and the Infinity Flow can't pull it, which means the print head can't pull it, which means it starts printing nothing and just keeps running away with it. So I thought, okay, fluky, let's do this. Let's take them off of this and let's put them on my old school rollers here, the ones that are designed to hold singles. And that way, if it gets jammed up and pulls, this thing holds it in place and it can't cam out, and it will just, the tension will pop the filament out and it will continue and the Infinity Flow will pick up. Well, as you can tell, the exact same thing happened, except it pulled out of this one, fed through, and then it just stops. It just, I don't know why. I don't know if the 5 kilo holder is tuned for bigger spools or something. Either way, this is attempt number 2. Didn't even make it past his pause. So that's a dud. And my biggest gripe currently is that with that, I only have 2.8 spools left, and this big, oh, here's version 3. That's right, I attempted it again because I'm retarded. I tried number 3, added some supports here because this model gets so tall. I was like, I don't want all that weight just being held on there. It comes off real nice. It's good filament. Little squirrely on the bottom, but a little heat treatment should do us all right. But with that all said, I've only got 2.8 kilos left, and that body is supposed to take like 2.9, and I can't risk it. I can't risk getting that close. So I'm gonna have to scale it down or find another filament to use, of which I have at least, you know, at least 3 point something kilos in case I overrun a little bit. And I'm looking around and I ain't got it. So I'm gonna make the model smaller, get it started again after I swap the Infinity Flow back to the old one, because I know that one works. Real bummer too, because it was just like, you know, like 3 days worth of printing for nothing, basically. Also, I got my dryer out here. I'm drying off some, I should probably dry this some more. This is just a little Comgrow, that should work. Little Comgrow dryer. I know everyone's running these fancy Sunlu dryers and all these other dryers. I just had this one laying around just to dry out some TPU, because I'm gonna be doing a TPU print, probably on a Cobra for the AMS riser for the A1, which let's go take a look at that now. As I'm walking by, before we go in the office, you might notice, I don't know if you've noticed before, this radar that I have here for my wife parks in here. It's a radar to keep you from getting too close to the wall. I had it in a surface run conduit, but I've got it all integrated into the wall now, and I used the magic of 3D printing. Let's take a look at that. And so I'm gonna add this into the next vlog. I'm not sure when that's gonna be, but I'm working on another one of those 3D print projects, which are boring for around the house, which I think are the coolest part of 3D printing. And if you're a guy that likes making stuff and fixing things around the house or upgrading stuff, then maybe you'll have interest in this. But you may have noticed here in the 3D print area is where my wife parks her car, and you may have noticed this radar. Well, previously I had a radar here. Senses your car when you pull in using a radar, and it tells you how far you are from the wall. A lot of people use like a tennis ball on a rope or some other device to keep you from pulling in too far. It's just got a great big SUV. So I just put that radar here on the wall, but it always kind of bugged me, because if you notice too, I had like a conduit running up here. I have an outlet up there for one of my routers, and I really never liked on the wall the conduit. It's kind of ugly, so I was like, you know what, let's go through the process and fish it into the wall. I'm getting to the 3D print part, relax. So what I did after much toil, which you really didn't need to see and I really don't want to show you, was fish the wire from the outlet up into the attic, over the joists, down inside the cavity, and luckily there was no blocking, because this is an exterior wall. Insulation to get through too. Let's not get started on it. We made our way down, and yes, I'm using 14 gauge landscape. It's DC, it's ultra low voltage DC. I'm not going out and getting a 2464 300 volt ADC extension. I tested it, it works fine. GPT told me it'd be fine. So I ran this 3-gang box in here. I've got this secured. I got the wire fished in, but the unit itself, the way it comes obviously in its own case. It's meant to be wall mounted. This little box here You got your DC input, and then it's got these two cables that come off of it with the radar units. There are two of these, and you try to space them far apart. So again, I don't like it being mounted on the wall, and I thought maybe there's a cleaner way to do it. So what I did, I measured this out, and it luckily fits inside, it'd probably fit inside a 2 gang, but I went for 3 just for the added space in case I had extra cabling. You can see it fits perfectly vertically inside of this 3 gang. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna chase these cables for the radar units down through and bring them out of the wall here. They'd still be mounted on the wall. Still kind of ugly. You can see I already popped one out of its case. And so what I did was I made a custom faceplate off of I got just a regular 3 gang plate off of printables and then modded it. So I just made it solid enough to where the LCD or the dot matrix, what's the name for this, would come through just kind of perfectly. And then I could screw this into the wall and it would just be the readout on there. To hold it in, you ready for some serious ingenuity here? Yeah, this isn't gonna fail when it heats up. I put barbs on the back for rubber bands to hold it in place. I could probably do a slot, but that would require supports or something. That didn't sound good, that was a printer. AMS really doesn't like those cardboard spools. So I've got this bungee cord rubber band thing on here to hold it all in place. That goes in, the readout will be on there. I did a white faceplate. The final versions are printing now at 100% infill. I think I got them because I want them to be real solid. I just don't want anything showing except the LCD. For the radar units here, again, I don't want those big clunky boxes just kind of sticking out of the wall because they're big and thick and stupid. So I'm going to chase them through the wall cavity, and I made this. It's kind of just a custom bar mount, and this will cover up the breach in the wall, and the wires come through the back, and these 2 little radar units that are on the PCB there. The final version's printing now. I needed like a millimeter extra between the holes. It will just allow these 2 radar units, sensors on each side, to come through. And I measured it out because I wanted to go down as far as I can, but with some spacing. And it will cover everything up in this white bar. Wall is white, this is white. I'll probably try to find a white screw somewhere. I mean, I got these drywall screws. I guess I can put a little paint on there. I guess I probably should have made the chamfer a little bigger. That way I could 3D print like a plug to put on top of it. But, you know, we'll see how it turns out. But overall, you know, it didn't take too long to design these. And it's gonna give me like, I know this is just a small thing, and I know you're like, why would you go through all this trouble for this one little thing? It's just these small things. It makes me happy, okay? It makes me happy to delete this stuff off the wall and have a nice smooth wall to run my hand across. So able to get all of that out of there, got it connected up there. Still need to, once the final versions are printed, measure the distance, how far down I can get before I can put that little sensor bar on there, and then I could tie in my barrel plug to the wire, get it all connected, get it rigged back up, and hopefully keep my wife from driving through that wall. Oh man, I love tomatoes, but there's nothing that gets me heartburn city versus tomatoes. So like I said, that project, a lot of fun. It's probably one of the more satisfying elements of 3D printing for me is just make that kind of stuff or make new enclosures for existing electronics to kind of tweak them and tune them. Pepsid AC chewables, yummy, to make them more suited for my application. Like I was saying, TPU print going on, and that's for this AMS riser for the A1 Mini. Not the A1 Mini, this is the AMS Lite for the A1. So, found this because I want to print a base for the A1 here soon, just to level it out, just to make it a little more appealing. And while I was searching for that, I found this riser for the A1 Lite. I like the way it looks a lot better. The A1 has been my main time-lapse workhorse, and it is in super sore need of maintenance, because you might notice this. I don't even know if I can simulate it. When a print gets done, it does this number. The Z-axis just falls down. So I need a retensioning there. I need to lube the rails. I probably need to swap the hot end. I had a couple failures here where it couldn't pull the filament out. It just needs a ground up I probably need to put a new cutter in it. Needs a ground up maintenance because I'm using this thing, I'm beating this thing like a rented mule with these time lapses because it's just the best, it's the best printer for time lapsing. You know, it's all open, I can put it out here. I don't know, you've seen this before, you know, I've got all my time lapsing stuff on these boom mounts, which I custom designed and 3D printed to fit in my slat wall. So I can just bring my camera out, I can bring my light out, whatever I want on a boom mount, adjust it accordingly. But we got to give some love to the A1. So we're going to be doing that today. I'll probably just kind of do that in a time lapse or something like that. Because I just had it on here and it couldn't pull the filament. And also I need to put an enclosure on the bamboo dongle because my next music-based 3D print was for gnarly, the Cat's Eye songs, popular trendy song. But I did this and, you know, went through the time lapse for it. It didn't trigger the time lapse at all, so I got to reprint this whole thing. Also, I think the motor is in the mailbox for our little conveyor belt here. This will be a super fun thing. This is all 3D printed. Doing a lot of these parts on the Cobra S1. Got to shoot that video today too, but the point of this little conveyor belt, hook a little motor to it, put it here, you put a little catcher on the side. That way the flush will be carried away and it won't be in the frame of the time lapses. And it's like, you know, a moving thing, which is interesting. Some other things too, I found, like I was cleaning out my cabinets and I was like, oh yeah, I have all these lenses for my camera. So I'm gonna try some different lens configurations, see if I can make a little bit better of a presentation, I suppose. I'm gonna be working on all those things and try to check back in periodically while I'm working on those things to kind of like, you know, document the process, try to make it more day in the lifey, so to speak. All right, so I'm gonna kick it over to my future self whenever it is that I decide to do that. All right, and so it's been a few hours. We've got most of our tasks for the day, or at least the things that we really wanted to accomplish, done. Over here on the P1P, it's been running steadily always check to make sure that this thing's taking pictures, because I've had a couple go through where it didn't take any of the photos. So last I checked, it was our model here moving along nicely. I think it's got 4 hours left, so it should be done today before I retire. No problems on the AMS. We got the Infinity Flow S1 out of the Flash Forge. And so what I did is, I remarked in the previous vlog, they have the little adapter for the Infinity Flow on their website. So I took that model, cut it in half, and then duplicated it and flipped it to make like a little PTFE tube connector. That way I can just snip it and then tie in when I put the Infinity Flow back on here, without having to take the long tube out of the machine and take it apart again. So that's running fine. Orangestorm Giga got the Infinity Flow on here. We got the big one in the back there. Not sure really what's going on there. I guess the large one just, it's not primed up to take the smaller 1 kilo spools. But we've got our Labubu going back on here. So I did the math. I had about 3 kilos left, and you know, the 600% size Labubu was taking like 2,900 grams, cutting it way too close. So I scaled it down to 550%, which is gonna eat 2,500 grams of filament, all in with supports, everything. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So this is like our last ditch effort, because I don't really wanna make it any smaller. Running just fine here, Infinity Flow's running just fine. You know, I'm a little concerned about this light being yellow here. It'll be okay, I would think. Isn't it usually blue? I can't remember. But I mean, it's in there. It's stuck in there. And if I look at the tube, it should be okay, right? Like if I pull this thing out, so I pull this out, that's not the active one, and I feed it back in. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's all right. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like, it would become like a blue color. Anyway, Labubu's down there printing fine. Got a long way to go on that print though. Another couple days, I think. I think it's like almost a 2.5 day print. So that's running great. And you can see over here, the A1 is back onto take a picture. We did our big service on the A1. We hit every single thing. So we replaced the cutter, we replaced the hot end, put a hardened steel on there. That's all I had, but you know, in case I want to do anything that needs a hardened steel. I don't think it's going to be a problem running a hardened steel for just PLA if I do that. I don't see why it would. I don't see that it's gonna cause any issues. I've changed the settings, so it should be fine. Went ahead and removed the stand on the AMS. We have the vertical stack AMS now, lubed up all the rails, cleaned all the rails, sprayed everything out. Calibration, A1 setup, running all right. So we got our camera here, trying out our new lens. Also, last vlog I was currently doing a time lapse for the Satisfactory constructor model with all the insane supports. I was able to get, I mean, there's some remnants in there, and I did hurt the model a little bit, but I'd later discovered that it wasn't actually hurting the model, it's just that it wasn't connected. Again, this is a game asset. I don't think anyone even attempted to optimize it for FDM printing. I took it into Tinkercad and sliced off the bottom and then did sketches to fill in so I get a nice solid bottom. But otherwise, it came out pretty good. I mean, you can see a lot of the detail in there, not particularly like fine layer height or anything, because I've tried to do these quick. And you still get the idea. If you've played the game, then you know that this absolutely positively looks like a constructor. Lots of detail. My little diamond plate that I printed, I was thoroughly impressed with how good this came out because it is so thin and wispy. But I didn't want to leave it in place because the supports to print this, oh my God, can you imagine? But otherwise, it came out pretty good. It's getting good views on TikTok, not so much YouTube. But yeah, I know there's a big following of Satisfactory people. It's been on the, near the top 50 on Steam for like many years. It must be feeding time. So that coming out good, very impressed with that. I'm probably gonna keep this model because a lot of these exhibition models I just throw away or give to my niece if she wants them, but otherwise I just toss them. But this I like because I like the game. Finally, sort of a tertiary thing, my little conveyor belt here that I was talking about to move the flush away. This is a model off of Maker World. I did get in the motors that drive it. It's just not strong enough. I think that maybe I didn't print this with a fine enough layer height, and so it's a little bit stiff. You gotta give it the beans a little bit, and this motor is just not up to the task. So I'm looking into alternatives there. I'm not sure if I want to do this because as I was thinking about it, the way I run time lapses, you're not gonna see this thing in motion because the time lapse is pictures when everything's still. So not sure if I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna keep it handy, but it kind of spawned in some other ideas because this little motor is just USB powered. So maybe it's a learning experience for me to kind of look into doing mini Python programming or something like that to kind of utilize these motors, maybe get a Raspberry Pi and start getting into that kind of thing. Because I think there's some cool applications for it I've seen around. A lot of them seem a little redundant and kind of pointless based on other off-the-shelf solutions. But for things like this, ad hoc, sort of very highly specialized stuff, maybe there's some opportunity. If you're into programming Raspberry Pis, using 3D printed parts and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. That's what's going on in 3D print world for today. Love to know what you're working on in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and of course, subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.